I just want to start this by saying how much it costs. I reckon it was about 360 bucks. I've gone through receipts, all my eBay purchases, and I reckon that's probably the cheapest I could have possibly done it. I already had some of the materials for wood and stuff to make the battery box, but this is a full DIY cheapo job, but I'm pretty happy with it. So the first thing I did was this thing. It's basically a homemade battery box out of all the leftovers from other bits and pieces that I did in the car, like the plywood from the floor. This alloy was what I first tried to mount my roof rack with, but it was useless. I wouldn't recommend doing it. There's 4 Anderson plugs. Cheapo 75 amp hour from eBay. It's not quite enough, I'll admit straight away. It's not enough, I don't think. Need more amp hours. To my accessory panel that I've got all my USBs and bits and pieces. One for my inverter, one for solar panel / fridge, and one that runs all the way up to the engine bay and gets charged. And it's portable, I can pull it in and out, so it's really good. It's just strapped in. The reason I went 75 amp hours because of the physical space that I have. So behind this seat, so the battery sits in there. This is a long line that comes from the engine bay, and that is connected in the engine bay to a battery isolator, which again is not the ideal setup, but it does for now. Okay, engine bay. This is the feed that goes to the battery. So it runs down there through the grommet, which is pretty difficult to get through. A bit of oil and a coat hanger and some sticky tape will get it through, but you got to push hard. So I already had this battery isolator from towing. So I've just connected to that. So if I'm towing, I disconnect this. If I'm not towing, I'll just plug this in and it charges my battery. That's the one going to my USB ports and 12 volt SIGGI sockets. That's going to my inverter. Inverter sits down there, runs from the battery to here. These big mounts are from my roof rack. I had them just left over. And that is a mounting point. This straps the battery down, so that just goes over the top of the battery, and that runs over these 2 straps. The blue ones go over my boxes when I've got boxes in here. They're a bit overkill obviously, but at least it just holds the battery from moving side to side, and then the battery's wedged against here and up against the seat. And I'll also throw this strap over the top. I ran conduit under my drawer, which runs to over there. You can see that one in the distance, that runs to the engine bay. I think really I need 2 75 amp hours or just one big 120 amp hour or something like that. 75 amp hours doesn't quite cut it. So this is where it gets interesting. Coming from the battery down here, runs to this panel which I made up. This is just one piece of ply covered and stapled with marine carpet. On the top I've got a 12 volt SIGGI socket, 4 USBs, all my fuses, and another 12 volt SIGGI socket at the other end. I used cardboard to template out this place. So on this side there's obviously this cup holder, and that just pops off. You can just pull that off, that whole piece, which I did on this side, and it leaves a big void here. There's a big hole, you can't actually see, there we go. Leaves this hole. I screwed that piece of wood on, just super dodgy, just so that this can rest on it. And I screwed these 2 bits at angle to the side of my drawer so that this wood can fix down onto that. I screwed that into the plastic again, and then I put a screw through this. Yeah, there's the screws. Only 3, you don't need much to hold it in place, and it wedges in there pretty tight. I had to butcher that a little bit to get this through. Now my cabling's a bird's nest, and I don't care that they're long because I can actually pull it out like this. This is also running off those fuses there, and this is running off those fuses as well, and they've all got individual switches. So all of this stuff I pretty much bought from eBay. You can pay a fortune at a local place here, but you pay a quarter of the price online. That's it. It's all fairly neat once it's in. The seat gets jammed on the battery there, and I can't actually fold them forward, so that's definitely an issue. So this is what it looks like once it's all in place. It's
by no means perfect or neat or anything, but it works.